Here we are. I'm so excited. Woohoo! In new growth, spring forward with fresh habits. And you're now entering into your emotionally fit room. How are you feeling right now? You see, it's at a time right now where there's so much darkness in the world and so much conflict, and people seem to have lost that self-regulation. This is a time where you, as a leader, and I believe we're all leaders, need to make sure you're checking in with yourself. So this is where, again, building in that 10 minutes, 15 minutes between meetings is so important because it gives you a chance to check in. I just facilitated a retreat just a few weeks ago with an organization, and what I'd said to them, so we did this exercise where they had a rock. You can find your own rock for that matter. And so what they would do is whatever they identified what the feeling was that they were experiencing after that meeting, after that phone call. Maybe they were upset, maybe they were triggered, maybe they felt hurt, maybe they felt dismissed, whatever it is, they acknowledged it for themselves, and then they touched the rock and allowing themselves to put it into the rock and committing to being able to spend some time later, perhaps that evening, to process that. Because it's important. What you don't acknowledge, you can't change, right? And so what tends to happen is we think, oh, well, I'll deal with it later. But if we don't acknowledge it now and say, okay, I'll deal with it later, but at least calling out what it is that you're feeling, then the dilemma is you'll have to do a pooper scooper later, because guess what? It builds, it builds, it builds. And I've worked with a lot of leaders where this has happened. They've stuffed it, and boom, they ended up at a meeting and said too much. Have you ever done that where you felt, oh my gosh, now I'm the one that looks off balance here, and it's because we didn't give ourselves the grace to be able to feel what we needed to feel. So the first one is to really practice that self-regulation. It's really important. And I love this. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. Isn't that great? William James. So the second habit, which I think is equally important, is our communication. Make sure our communication is healthy. I'm a huge fan of Jefferson Fisher. If you don't follow him on Facebook, I highly recommend it. He's written a great book called The Next Conversation. He's an attorney in the United States, and he gives you just snippets of just how to deal with certain people, rude people, conflict situations, narcissists, oh my gosh, all kinds of stuff, having to assert yourself with that difficult person. So I really encourage you to seek him out as a resource. So that healthy habits are really, number one, is identifying what's the elephant in the room. Where am I holding back here? Where am I holding back? So maybe your new growth for this season is that you need to start to speak up more. You need to speak your truth more. So I encourage you to take the time and drop in about, what am I feeling right now? What do I need to convey? And giving yourself permission. And it's not going to be perfect the first time. It's going to take some time. And I'm a huge fan of I statements. I'm feeling that there's some tension in the room. I'm feeling that, we've talked about this many times, very many meetings, but we don't seem to be taking action. Anybody else notice that? So being able to be comfortable with being uncomfortable is really big. And I love this, that the art of communication is the language of leadership by James Humes. Love that. So the third habit is your gratitude practice. I know we hear it all the time, but to me it's so important that what we appreciate appreciates. So what do you appreciate about yourself in this moment? It's really important. You're in your emotionally fit room. Let's drop in. What do you feel most proud of in this moment? So for me, I'm really proud of the fact that I feel in flow right now with doing this video with you. I really did some research on this, and I'm excited to be sharing this with you. So I'm proud of myself for that. So for you, what is it you're proud of? And then how do you then pass that on? How do you share that with maybe the people that you supervise, with your own superior, with your own family? They've said some study that in couples that there's like 20 negative things that they share, and there's something like 2 positive. I literally have it on my phone, don't tell my husband, where it shows up every day, 5 compliments every day. 5 compliments every day, because I want to be intentional about this, about making sure that I'm depositing into him. So those are the 3 habits. I highly recommend you pick one. Do it for 7 days. Give it a try to help with that emotional growth that you so want to do. Let's get out of survival mode. Let's really make sure that we're in the flow of this joyful season that we're in. So again, take a look at self-regulation. Habit number 2, healthy communication. Habit number 3 is gratitude practice. Have yourself a beautiful day. Love to hear from you as to what worked.